I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect the video that I made on Monday about this being, or well, the past week being like one of the worst weeks for North America ever, to really take off in the way that it did. But that video's views continue to climb. So there's a few things that we need to talk about as a follow up to that in this week's episode of The Pit, while we also address the upcoming weeks, the news headlines, and if you want to see an unboxing of something interesting, this won't be in this video in the same way that Team Liquid won't be at LTA Finals, but we're still got a bunch of other things to talk about, so let's get it.
Into the pit! Into the pit! Everyone get in here!
I want to get the negative out of the way first. That way it's like done, over with, and we can move on to this weekend's games, which should be exciting given the stakes at hand. But first, there were a lot of people that had some issues with the way that viewership is compared split over split between this year and last year, to which I would say, yes, I know the airtime isn't exactly the same because we split up into 3 different splits now instead of 2, but your average viewership is like the part that's like really concerning. Like I get the amount of airtime, like, oh, maybe if we had more hours, the number would go up. 1, it wouldn't. 2, you cannot use the segment that we're in right now of cross-conference play, which does have 6-figure viewership, which has been great. You cannot use that in this comparison in any way, shape, or form because you would need the English siloed numbers to be able to put there, given that we know for a fact the majority of the viewership right now is Portuguese. Like, we know it is. It's fair to compare 2024 summer to 2025 summer in the limited bits that we have because the average shows like how many people are tuning in week in and week out. And the reality is people just are not caring right now. Like I've asked the question multiple times and you can see it in the comments of that video and the comments of other videos. People are just checked out on the LTA entirely. They just are. And while I thought we were kind of like through the worst of the negative stuff, the one announcement that has me kind of peeved, to be honest, and I know we've gotten some commentary on it, but it doesn't fully suffice for me, is that Team Liquid is not going to be at LTA Finals in Texas. And we didn't have an explanation for a bit, and the answer is basically economic, like a bunch of like PR answer. I understand that like they can't give like the specifics, but the reality is they ain't got the money. Right? They have no ability to send people there, which is wild because like the optic of like what this presented whenever like the initial statement was made that Team Liquid wasn't going to be there, but there were going to be watch parties elsewhere and bigger global initiatives. It was like, oh, so you've fully given in the Saudi money at this point. Like you're just going to do watch parties there and around. And it's like, apparently not. No, there will be some stuff in the US, but like, I don't quite understand, even with losing Team Liquid, Honda, like losing the Honda partnership, how this wasn't already in plans separate from that. And let me explain what I mean by this, because I know some people will be like, well, they lost a ton of money, which is probably tied to this. You get a stipend from Riot each and every year for being a part of this league, for being an equity partner. Now, the amount of money we don't know because Riot doesn't disclose that, and teams are unwilling to say it as well, whether they could or couldn't, I have no clue. But in my mind, if I'm building out a program or building out the finances for the program, somebody that works in finance, FP&A, this is like my methodology on how I would think it. That initial stipend covers a few things. First and foremost, all the bare minimum costs that are required to be in this league. In other words, state minimum salaries, which is like $75,000 a person, the salary for all your coaching staff that need to be there, G&A, housing, like obviously it won't cover like some of the executives at Team Liquid and beyond, but like just the League of Legends pillar specifically, cover all that. With that comes marketing. Okay, you need to have some basic level of marketing for your League of Legends program, separate from your content, from anything else. That, in my opinion, should be like making sure that you have a booth at this finals. That is going to be the one touch point that you have in person, physically with fans outside of LA this entire year. It should almost be a requirement for you to be there. So say you're getting $1 million from Riot. Maybe that number's a little bit under at this point. The salaries are going to be what, 75,000 times 5 or times 7. You assume 2 coaches and 5 players, just over $500,000. G&A costs, like you don't have to have this big facility, but Alienware sponsoring that, so I'm not going to like pin that on the League of Legends program. Like realistically, you could just rent an Airbnb, which would be $10K a month. Like I don't find there to be an acceptable excuse to not be at this thing. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, $75,000, like the minimum salaries that you're covering with this, isn't enough to get players. Yes, that's where sponsorships for your team and everything else come in. Those affect the salaries of players that you need to have. If you want to go above and beyond the minimum that is given to you by the stipend in the league, that's on you to go out and get sponsors and get money, of which, yeah, they had and then they lost because of this whole thing here. But like the stipend you apparently get in April from Riot. So this should have been locked, like cash in hand from that stipend that you dish out over the course of the year. That should, like, you should be there 100%. Like, in my opinion, it is like the worst possible look. And I said this whenever 100 Thieves wasn't there and they just had like people roaming around. I don't want you to just be roaming around. You are one of the 8 equity partner, well, not equity, you're one of the 6 equity partners, one of the 8 teams that are affiliated in this league. And when we get the one chance to all come together, your ass better freaking be there. For Disguised, I entirely get it. They're not going to be there as well. It makes sense. They need to worry about requalifying for the league next year. So they're going to be boot camping in Toronto during this time, all their staff, everybody that's there. I entirely get that, and that's fine. But for Team Liquid, I'm sorry, even though you lost the Honda partnership, I don't think there's a valid reason to not be there in any way, shape, or form. This is one of the pinnacles of your program. You need to make sure you're there. And it just sets this precedent, or like this horrible tone for me. Whenever I'm sitting here in the position that many fans are going to be next year, or really in the position of new fans that are coming into this league, that are trying to find a team to make your home. And when I see stuff like this, whenever it feels like we're messing up on the basic shit and like we're just being quiet, or like, I don't know, players could use their own goddamn salary to just fly out and do meet and greets, even if it's not like Team Liquid. Like, I don't see people advertising that they're going to be there and like trying to go out and do these things. Like, that rubs me the wrong way. And when I'm going to be looking for a new home next year, it's little things like this that plant seeds in the back of my mind that I will remember when it comes time to pick teams. And it just, like, it rubs me the wrong way. Maybe I'm being a bit irrational on this, but I just feel like nobody from Riot to the majority of the teams in this league have a firm understanding of what we want to see as fans to help this league grow. Come on. Like, please, we're looking for a reason to tune in. There's a reason why viewership is dropping this much, because people do not feel invested and do not feel like anybody from the top down really cares all that much. So every small thing that you do that looks like you don't care, or prioritizing money when you just got paid $5 million for finishing second place in the Esports World Cup, I'm sorry, leniency is not going to be granted in this situation for me. I don't know. That's my rant on like the state of things now. I don't want to keep like beating that thing down. I don't like the precedent that it set. Like, it just feels weird. And I hate it when 100 Thieves did it. And I know some people are like, oh, well, why weren't you as vocal? I was. Go check the tapes. The second comment that I noticed in the replies to that video was that people were saying, oh, I'm criminally underrating Brazil. And more importantly, saying that it's one of the worst weeks in North American history just because Shopify lost to Brazil is kind of insulting. To which I would say, I get why you find it insulting. I have higher expectations for us than losing to Brazil. Sorry. I do. Especially the second seed from Brazil. Yes, I do have higher expectations than that. I expect us to be better. And if you think that I'm not going to be upset by it, then I'm sorry, you're not a competitive person. Like, this is one of those, like, in college football when a ranked opponent loses to an unranked one and you have to go in the locker room and set the fucking tone real quick. Okay? We should not be losing to anybody but maybe like the super team that comes from these regions. And it's very clear that as of right now, it doesn't seem like there's a particular super team in Brazil. So we shouldn't be losing these in any way, shape, or form. And that applies to this weekend as well. I'm not going into this, even with Blippo not in the series versus VKS, with the assumption that they're going to lose. I think it will be close because Gakos needs time. So I'm saying 3-2 FlyQuest. But I am going to say 3-0 100 Thieves over Red. And that's not by proxy of using 100 Thieves win over Pain as an indicator there, nor using Red's win over Shopify as an indicator there for them as either. Like, I just think straight up, people were trying to say in the comments, like, oh, it's going to be closer for 100 Thieves than you think. I don't think so. I think if 100 Thieves is playing their game and not playing dumb like we've seen them do at times, this is a 3-0 shutout and not even close. For FlyQuest, even without Blippo, This should not be particularly close, but it weirdly probably will be because we've seen some cracks in the armor for FlyQuest, and maybe they can be taken advantage of. And that's a big if on the maybe. So I'll go 3-2 FlyQuest over VKS and give them benefit of the doubt that they'll be able to plug some of those holes. But I do not think in any way, shape, or form that VKS is winning this series over FlyQuest the same way the 100 Thieves is not going to lose in their series here. Why would I be so confident? Why would I be arrogant about it? Because we should be confident going into this. You respect your opponents. You understand that they can beat you if you slip up, but you go in with the confidence that you need to put weaker opponents down. That's how competition at the highest level should work. And if you're not going in with that mentality, I'm sorry, I think you're going in with a loser's mentality. Simple as that. Let's kick it over to LTA Fantasy real quick, because I forgot to check in last week, and we need to see how things are going with, I'm assuming it's not done yet. I actually haven't even checked. So at the time of recording this, the transition to the next segment here is going to be interesting.
As always, if you have not joined the Shy Knockers, we are 167 strong. I don't know if we're going to hit 200 before the end of the split, but hey, you never know. A last-second push, and we might be able to get there. Leaderboard-wise, I am in the top 16, baby. Team Sloth Missing is barely holding on a little bit over Sarah. Crankshaft and Beans is slipping a little bit. But let's see on the market. Let's see my team. Technically, I don't have to change a thing at all. I mean, if I go to last round, it was, 91 points? Dokla a little bit down, but, who am I going to be able to upgrade to? Just FlyQuest? It's a matter of whether you want to take Busio then over anybody else, and I think it's honestly worth the multiplier to get 5% extra on everybody else and take the hit on Busio. I think I just ride out this squad until the end of the split. Just have faith in 100 Thieves and hope to God that it prays out. Because what else can you say or do at this point? It's not like I have much budget remaining. It's literally just sell him and pick up Ayla, who would get me, I mean, where's Ayla at? Ayla's 11.8, so I could get 6 points and then probably pick up Blippo instead. No, not even the 6 points wouldn't be able to do anything. And even then it's and you couldn't pick up Blippo anyways because he's not playing this week. But Jungle maybe Inspired. I mean, you go from River to Inspired, but even then, River had 27 points last week and Inspired had 21. So what reason do I have to change? I'm keeping it as is. 100 Thieves still making the run. And one final thing, folks, before we go. All-Pro just got announced. Congratulations to everybody that made first, second, and third All-Pro teams. Rookie of the Year, coaching staff of the year. Everything pretty much got announced. Massive shout out to Quid being the only one to buck the trend of FlyQuest first All-Pro. And that's pretty much it. I did not vote on it this year. In case those of you that are familiar with the series, you know that I always typically talk about it. No, did not vote. I'm assuming because I didn't do any interviews. Either way, did not get invited to do it. But seriously, congrats to everybody. 300 Thieves players that were able to make the ballot, including Alo on third All-Pro and River on second as well. So that's always fun. But that's pretty much it for this week's episode of The Pit. I got my long rant that I wanted out there. If you haven't caught the prior video that I put out on the needlessly large rods, I'm trying to do some content outside of just specific esports, test it out, see how it's going. Let me know your thoughts on that. The Rendezvous is out for a deeper dive preview on 100 Thieves versus Red this upcoming weekend, but honestly, I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm still trying to work on a finals watch party location. There's some complicated updates that I can give you later in time. But for now, just know I'm trying my best to give us a spot to watch, and I will have more information out hopefully by Monday of next week. But that's all I can give you. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'll see you around. Bye-bye.